So now, scientists concentrated their efforts on remote control using radio waves. To most people at the time, it seemed the stuff of science fiction, but the principle is simple enough.
Radio control is a simple concept. You use a radio signal from the source, the transmitter. It goes to the receiver, and then it's converted into mechanical instructions for the device. Usually one channel per function. Make it go left, make it go right, make it go up, make it go down, make it go faster, make it go slower.
In 1942, America launched its first radio-controlled missile, Azon. Azon guided a 500-pound bomb carried on an aircraft until it was in reach of the target. Once it was released, a bombardier controlled its flight. He could steer it by sending a radio signal, which adjusted the bomb's fins, moving it right or left.
These were extraordinary weapons. They were a leap in technology. They brought an accuracy to the aerial bombing that no one had ever seen before.
Azon was the basis for an even weirder wonder weapon. Codenamed Operation Aphrodite, it would push the technological boundaries of radio control to new limits. Operation Aphrodite involved both the U.S. Army and Navy Air Forces. It was considered so dangerous they asked for pilots to volunteer. One who did was Ken Waters.
And they needed volunteers for a special mission, but if you did it, you'd get credit for 5 missions and get the DFC, the Distinguished Flying Cross.
The plan was to turn an entire war-weary plane into a flying kamikaze bomb. The aircraft would be packed with 9 tons of explosives. 2 daredevil pilots would then fly the plane to 10,000 feet. They would arm the bomb and bail out, leaving a mother aircraft nearby to steer the bomb plane by radio control.
To take an aircraft off like that that's rigged to blow up, you have to be a special person.
Flight control was handed over to a bombardier in the mother aircraft. He would guide the explosive-packed plane to its target.
You had to control the throttles, you had to control the climb and the dive of the aircraft, so there had to be a lot of very innovative ways to control that airplane with radio control.
The pilotless plane, known as the drone, trailed smoke to help the bombardier and the mother aircraft keep track of it. 2 television cameras transmitted pictures of the instrument panel and the view from the flying bomb's cockpit back to the mother ship to help the bombardier's aim. The bomb and the mother plane between them were a whole technological revolution. Even those who flew them found it hard to understand.
I think I maybe had heard about television, but this was the first television I ever saw in my life.
Because the technology was new and untried, the whole operation was incredibly dangerous. Within weeks of the first flight, a pilot died when his flying bomb went out of control. Another lost his life when his parachute got entangled with the plane as he bailed out.
The most dangerous part of this mission, I felt, was the jumping out of the drone. We were going at probably 160, 170 mile an hour, so the slipstream threw me up against the bottom of the aircraft. Then the smoke tank flashed by my face, and it had a weld seam on it. I can still see that weld seam flashing by my face about this far, and then I was clear.
Ken Waters was one of the lucky ones. Operation Aphrodite was to claim the life of more volunteer pilots. One of them was Joseph Kennedy Jr., the eldest son of America's most famous family.
He volunteered for it. And without people like that to go out and risk their lives, you're not going to know whether this technology is going to work or not.
On the evening of August 12, 1944, it was Kennedy's turn to fly the bomb-packed drone aircraft. Together with his co-pilot, Bud Willey, he took off from First Field Aerodrome bound for a bombing mission in northern France. They flew a Navy Liberator bomber loaded with 21,170 pounds of explosive. Kennedy was to fly to 10,000 feet before handing control to the mother ship. His last task before bailing out was to arm the bomb. To do this, a new piece of equipment had been installed. An electronic arming switch, which replaced the existing manual system. At around 6:20, Joe Kennedy and Bud Willey started to throw switches and hand over control of their aircraft. Seconds later, there was a massive explosion. No one knows exactly what happened.
The speculation is that when Kennedy flipped the switch, there was some kind of short circuit or something untoward happened, and that airplane exploded and obliterated everyone aboard.
The plane was completely destroyed, leaving precious little evidence to work out what had gone wrong. But one thing seems clear. The new technology had somehow failed. Radio-controlled missiles are now a standard part of the American armory. Those who use today's missiles owe a great deal to men like Joe Kennedy, Wilford Bud Willey, and all the others who died. Still to come, the weirdest weapon of them all, a bomb that could create an earthquake. In the early, desperate days of World War II, Allied leaders were presented with a stream of weird ideas. Dropping bombs into Vesuvius to provoke an eruption to destroy southern Italy. Releasing poisonous snakes in Berlin to terrify the German people. Spraying Hitler's garden with a hormone to change his sex. Small wonder then that sometimes a really good idea was not immediately recognized. A bomb so powerful that it could set off an earthquake may have seemed improbable, but it wasn't. During World War II, most bombs dropped from aircraft ranged from 500 to 4,000 pounds. They exploded as they hit the ground and caused a lot of damage. But much of the force of the blast was lost, dissipated into the atmosphere. A British engineer had a better, astonishing idea. A much bigger and heavier bomb that would do far more damage, and not just because of its size.
Tallboy was an absolutely amazing weird weapon used during World War II. It was 22,000 pounds worth of explosive, and such a bomb had never, ever been used before.
What made this massive bomb truly weird was that it could destroy a target without even scoring a direct hit. The earthquake bomb was designed to bury itself 100 feet into the ground before exploding. The underground blast would trigger an earthquake effect big enough to register on the Richter scale.
If you explode a bomb underneath a building and you hollow out an area, what you're going to do is you're going to pick that building up through the heave of the ground and then drop it, and it's not going to be able to survive.
The earthquake bomb was the brainchild of British aircraft designer Barnes Wallis. Wallis knew that a giant bomb detonated underground would trigger an earthquake effect. But there was a problem: how to deliver it. There were two critical factors: size and shape. This monster 22,000-pound weapon was to be dropped from 40,000 feet so it could gather maximum speed. Unlike any previous bomb, it had a sleek aerodynamic shape. The fins were slightly twisted so that the missile would spin like a bullet coming out of a rifle.